This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome to Worse Than You with Mo Fry-Pasek. I am Mo, and every week I'm asking today's most captivating artists how they got their acts together. This show is not about their best work or most lucrative or most famous, but it's about the work that means the most to them, their creative process, and why they make their art. This week's guest is an actor and stand-up from Chicago. She was on Worse Than You, this show this summer, to discuss her Edinburgh Fringe solo show, Not That Bad. And you know her as the host and EP of the digital series Pretty Gay. Please welcome to the pod, Catherine McCafferty. Ready, set, show!
Whee! Thank you so much for having me back.
I'm happy as a clam. Not that bad. Pretty gay. My queen.
Yeah, I'm so excited. There's more to talk about now.
Well, there was always bubbling. Oh, you know what's cool?
Yeah.
Is that listeners can go back and listen, because you did what I would describe as a Save My Life app, where I needed like such emotional support at the end of Fringe. And I think we were supposed to do like a formal one, but you and Demi ended up coming to my dorm where we just talked about being ourselves and dating and living.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think listeners could listen to that and see at what point in your show, like you even talking about like, I'll come back and maybe tour this, and then to get to see in such a short amount of time what growth the seeds you have been planting have done.
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe I should do that to remind myself that I've grown.
I think that's helpful, because
I think it is helpful.
Because sometimes I always I always wanted this, right? I always planned it. It's like, no, some things did surprise you. And so we give our listeners at the beginning, starting with a project, a too long didn't read, a TLDR. So can you give my listeners a TLDR for either, stand up, or I'm excited about your new series, Pretty Gay?
Yes, I will do Pretty Gay, too long didn't read. So Pretty Gay launched February 14th, 2024. Which is so crazy because very first season, very first episode, February 14th, 2024. And now it's May 2025 and we are about to release our third season. So I'm just so thrilled. This was just a little nugget of my friends wanting to experiment, seeing if kind of this subscription-based model, internet show type model would work on a smaller scale with somebody who was relatively unknown, because I didn't have a ton of followers. I wasn't an influencer. I wasn't a famous actor. I was just kind of plugging along, and I had written part of my solo show already, but I hadn't gone to Edinburgh yet. And my very good friends, Sam Reich and Elaine Carroll, were like, okay, well, we can produce a digital series behind a paywall for you. And we just threw around ideas and decided that it should be a queer interview game-based dating show called Pretty Gay.
Which is also funny because it's every play on the word, which is the spectrum of queerness, as pretty as an adjective like that, and then pretty as my stunning friend.
Hello.
And inside and out. And I love that. I love that so much. What made you go to dating show, wanting to, are you someone who was always either like that or was comfortable with that?
Well, I mean, I watch I like to watch dating shows, and there's not a lot of queer dating shows.
Queer Love, Ultimatum, the best, weirdest.
Yeah, right. That's what we have. We also, the UK has I Kissed a Girl, which I'm obsessed with.
I've never heard. Why am I? This is the first time hearing this.
Well, because it's like on some BBC channel. So it was recently released, the first season on Hulu. They're doing a second season, but I'm so incredibly obsessed where I'm like, if they do a US version and I don't get to audition to be the host, I'm jumping off of a bridge.
This is what this all has been for.
Yes, it's all building to this. But the premise of that show is that they get coupled up before they meet anyone. The show couples them with another woman and they meet, and the first thing they're supposed to do is kiss. And so then they kiss, they walk in to a room of the other contestants.
I love
then
this.
they all hang out. They decide who they're coupling up with, if they're staying with the girl that they kissed, et cetera, et cetera. I loved watching it because it's just like these sapphic relationships that are so honest, and they'll just be like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not feeling it, so I'm just gonna go tell that girl that I'm not feeling it. This is my weird British accent. And I'm gonna let her down easy, and I just think that we work better as friends, so I'm not gonna turn around during the ceremony, because if it's not authentic, then I don't want to lie. And I'm like, you guys are brilliant. You're not like, nobody leaves each other hanging. They're just like, I'm just going to tell her right now I'm not turning around, so that nobody like gets surprised or anything like that.
Well, that's the hard part is like, I always think Love Island forgets this because the people who try and do it ethically are actually the really good drama. Like the people who like didn't say it and then it's just standard. But like, I even think of Love Island season 5, when Curtis was with Amy, and then he tells, right, when he's like trying to tell Amy ethically, and it's the best drama of it all because he's with more. It's like, and he's trying to be like, you know, that sort of queer direct, like, okay, here, yes, blah, 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 blah. But that's what we're used to dialogue wise, but this sort of straight shows don't understand that.
Not at all. And then it becomes like, well, why are you being so confusing? And it's like, I don't know, I was trying to tell you my feelings, but I don't know them fully yet. Versus like, I'm like, the minute that you have a flickering of a thought, let me know so that I'm not caught off guard.
My favorite, I always use The Office as like a reference for my brain. And Kelly, when she's dating Daryl, she does a talking head and she's like, Daryl says exactly what he's thinking. What kind of game is that? I'm always like, that's me. I'll say exactly how I feel. And then people are like, what are you trying to say?
What's that mean? And I'm like, what do you, I just told you what it means. What do you mean?
But straight relationships, I really think straight heteronormative, like all these sort of relationships are used to the games of coy and like, if a girl says this, she means this.
No,
and
absolutely.
Then when you do say the thing, it's like,
No, in my last relationship, it was very much like we had trouble because there was sort of like well, what do you mean by that? And I was like, oh, I mean what I just said. What? Like I'm not over here trying to be like, there's a hidden meaning. And also like people have in the past been like, well, do you think so-and-so is going to get mad because you posted X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, maybe it's like a little shady. And I'm like, it's a clip from my digital series.
Dating
How
show.
could that be shady? And because people are out here like trying to make second meanings from everything.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm not posting something as some code that I hope somebody stumbles upon. What?
Which is rare. And it is how life should be. But I also think one of the things about you that stands out in general that also like solidifies people as going hot is you are willing to discover something with someone, even if it means like you did something wrong. You're kind of like, like I'll consider that. And so then people think that because people are so used to, people are rode hard and put up wet is what I'll say.
Yeah. Yeah. People have been played so many different ways that I do think that they get hardened, and I just don't, for whatever reason, I just don't have that. It's not baked into my DNA.
And I think, you don't need to discover why. I think the people that have that just need it to be nourished so more people can know what it's like.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so back to the dating series, you just love them. We're going to get you hosting this. But I like this because it seems like what Sam's doing and what, especially, you as a stand-up are doing is like, it's an opportunity to mess up. It's an opportunity to have an idea. Maybe we'll figure it out by making it. So you were just like pitching and then it was like, let's make a season, or how was that?
Yeah, it was very much that we were finding it together. I hadn't dated a lot as like a queer person because I sort of just like started dating somebody, fell in love, and then we got engaged. And then we didn't get married.
And everyone should see Catherine's stand-up show to learn a little bit more.
Yeah, and then you learn more about that. But then I was just sort of out here as like an older adult, you know, like I'm not 16 and I'm still trying to like figure it out. And it was fun to be able to then invite my queer friends, because it started with like just inviting people that I knew. Like the first 6 episodes were just people, like comedians that I knew, and just asking them genuine questions about like queer dating and playing games along the way too. But it was like a learning process of being like, oh, okay, so this is how you flirt. Okay, maybe I can like steal that and like try to use it in real life.
Because it's authentic then too.
Yeah. And so we just, Sam and Elaine were so great. They were like, yeah, let's build like a mini set in our house.
Oh, is that where it was? Because it's so professional. Like
the first season, which looks really different. It's the first 6 episodes.
This was last year. I still thought it looked great.
Okay, well, great. It did. I mean, honestly, because they did hire, like Chloe was like the set designer, and they are Chloe Badner. They're great, and so they were able to like use like fake wallpaper and like wallpaper so they were really building an ambiance.
That's what I mean. I thought it was a space.
Yeah. But then if you looked like a little bit this way, there's like a mounted TV. So we were really like right here.
I love that. You see the clips.
They did such a great job though of making it really feel professional, and that's what we wanted. We wanted like clips that looked really nice, just to see if people enjoyed watching them. And the first season, like we had like 160 Patreon members after the first season.
Them.
And I was like, okay, great. And that felt fine, but it also wasn't enough to like make a second season.
Sustain.
Right. It felt like it wasn't growing at the rate where originally we were like, let's do a full-blown second season. So we were brainstorming, what if this was more of an indie podcast, less produced, et cetera, et cetera. And then Sam and Elaine sort of had like a separate meeting without me, and they were like, okay, or what if we make it even more produced versus less produced, move it to a studio and spend even more money? And and then they came back with that, and I was like, I'll do whatever you guys are willing to do with me, because
like,
they're
we're
such
comics. We're like, thank you. Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are so, you know, like they know the internet. Like Sam Reich like really knows the internet. And I was like, I'll follow you both to the end of the universe. Like whatever you guys are willing to do with me, I love you as creative partners. Like, let's do it. And so with season 2, it was really, that's when it took off, because at the end of season 2, we had, I think, like 2,800 Patreon members.
From 160 to 2,800. That's so amazing.
It has been crazy. And I'm like, every single day I'm so grateful, and I'm like, this is nuts. Like, it's nuts when you work for like 10 years to be able to like do something, and you like, I didn't know that this was going to be the thing, right? Like I started being like, I'm going to be a stage actor, and
Mama, I'm coming home.
Yeah. And now it's like this. And I'm getting talked to by people being like, oh, well, you're an influencer. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Like
sure.
literally whatever.
From your
because
lips.
I get to make this, if I get to make this show and like play and have fun and invite friends to just like flirt and do whatever. And then the way that I'm also in the world is as like an online person. Okay. Great. Fun. I didn't imagine that, but I'm so happy that it came to my door.
But I think that's like a gift of releasing the how, right? Because a lot of people want to be the influencer or want to not have it be influenced, want it just this way. And you're going like, I want to have fun and make art and laugh. Yeah. And because of that openness, you see more opportunities. You say yes to things. And then you get to a place where you're like, oh, this is great because I don't care how you perceive me. It's awesome if it's positive for me. And if it's negative, bye. And I have money and support to make my things.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because there was such like even maybe like 5 years ago, I might have not been as open. But I think after you're around for a while in the industry, like you really like go after things, and I found this being your friend. You're very resilient and determined, and that's how I feel like I approach things as well. And so I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere. Like I love that. I'll adapt to like what's around me because I want to continue. Like I'm living my life as a creative person. So I'm not, just because nobody's offering me a TV show, I'm not going anywhere.
Vitamin water was born in New York because New Yorkers wanted more flavor to pair with all the amazing food in the city. You can have the best meal in the world here, if you can get a reservation. Vitamin water is so New York. Its 3 favorite cheeses are chopped cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese, and a slice of cheese pizza. We know where to get the best sushi in the city, and best nachos, and best bagels, and best... You get it. And you can find food trucks better than 5-star restaurants. Drink vitamin water. It's from New York.
Some things work better together, like NARS's Soft Matte Complete Concealer and Radiant Creamy Concealer. Soft Matte Complete Concealer erases and blurs imperfections with full coverage. Then, Radiant Creamy Concealer evens and brightens with a luxurious texture and radiant finish. 2 concealers, 1 flawless look. Perfect for a no-foundation base. NARS, better together. Visit Ulta to shop now.
Say the fuck that. You know what I love about that, and I appreciate you saying that about me, but one of the reasons I connect with you on that is because you are one of the people that are close to me in this way that I know that about you. And one of the things that I like about my resilience is that it's not the thing about me, right? Like it is not an overcoming story. It is not a story of like, and I did this to do this to do. And it's like, you like me are like, I'm having fun every step of the way. Yeah. And there are hard times, of course, but like my identity isn't based around my pain. My identity is like a core thing that I'm just still here. Like I'm still so give us what you got. It is that. And I don't know. I'm trying to teach this through this pod of like, kind of like telling people, well, I was talking about it this weekend of like everything that you could possibly have in your life and want in your life is in your life right now. It just isn't the way you want it to look. Like, so you're saying I want it fun and a massive feeling, right? There is fun and a massive feeling in your life right now. So if you can focus on that instead of all the things you have to overcome, then you're looking for more of that and it can grow.
Yes, and that's like literal brain chemistry where it's like you 100%. Look for patterns. Like that's just how we are as human beings. That's normal. That's like how you're wired when they study the brain, is that what's comforting to us is what's familiar. So if you
predictable.
If you make the fact that like you have abundance or laughter or, oh my God, I have such wonderful friends and I have such an ease of my life. If you make that like your kind of like mantra or whatever, and you really look for like, and it might not be, you might be like, well, I don't have an ease of life. I have to work 6 jobs. And it's like, yeah, I've been there, babe. But like my ease comes from then I get to go like, okay, I actually have an awesome mom. Like you can find one thing that makes your life like ease. Like I have a fuzzy blanket. Okay, awesome. Even that simple.
Yes.
And when you get to like list those things and then you go, okay. So you start to like reframe your life of being like, yeah, I do have 6 jobs, but I have this fuzzy blanket. And then you start to, then that becomes like what you're looking for in your life. And slowly there's like more and more of that.
More fuzzy blankets.
You're looking like your brain wants to be like, well, I want more of what I have. I want more of what I have. So if you're always like, but I have 6 jobs and life is hard for me, then you have 6 jobs and life is hard for you. And then you're going to keep, your brain is going to make that what you're comfortable.
Say that.
Like you're going to be comfortable in that.
And to your point, it is not woo woo. It is not, a vision board. It's going, if you're at a party every single time you're out and you're talking about your 6 jobs, guess what? People who are sloughing it, who also have 6 jobs, that's who you're going to talk to. That's who you can talk to. But if you're at a party and you stay talking about that fuzzy ass blanket, you're going, I love this feeling. And people who are excited feel that passion in you. And then more fuzzy blanket conversations happen. More things are like, to me, it's mathematical.
More people who have like the outlook of like, oh, you have a fuzzy blanket? Oh my God, I just got this like amazing coat and I got it as a hand-me-down from my great aunt. Oh, who's your great aunt? This fantastic lady who is in the arts. Oh my God, amazing. Yes. I actually wanted to be a painter, but now I work 6 jobs. Oh, really? Well, you should meet my great aunt. Like that, it's just like, you will, like, it's why people say that, like, why it's like when you look at your partners, you might be like, why am I dating the same person over and over again? Like, why am I stuck in this? Like, I'm a great person, but I always have these controlling people in my life. And it's because you're comfortably uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm. It's okay, this is going to be such like a Pisces explanation, but I'm going to work through it with you because I'm trying to solidify it as like a visual or a metaphor to help folks. Yeah. Because I think I think both of us are people who have experienced very hard things in life. And we will speak about them, but we don't excuse ourselves for it and we don't explain ourselves for it. We find ourselves enriched by it despite the pain. Mm-hmm. Correct. Okay, great. Mm-hmm. But so my thing is, I was speaking with someone and they were like, their friend, they didn't quite believe them if they were like, understanding that the situation they were in was tough or that they shouldn't be in it. And so they were like, well, should we put up a boundary and not speak to that friend? Should we, tell them that they're being crazy and should stop, talking to that person? And it's like, to me, right, when we're talking about uncomfortable, right? So say you as a child, like put your hand on a stove and it's hot, right? And that's the sponge. But when you turn around, there's like a loaded gun in your face. So guess what? You're going to really quickly find a way to keep your hand on the stove because that's a lot more comfortable than turning around for the loaded gun. So my thing is when the gun has left, you're living your life, you're an adult, you're still holding on to that stove. You don't know it's gone. You still think it might be behind you. So when folks will say things like, you're an idiot. Why are you still touching that stove? Like, that's the past. You have no reason to trust. So the folks who are behind you who are like, oh my God, how cool is that painting right in front of you? Blah, blah, blah. And just meeting you where you are.
Yes. Yeah.
And just loving the best parts of you, even if they don't agree, like that you should be touching so. They also think it's stupid. But they know someone who said, I love you, was the one holding a gun. So why would I love you, I'm helping you, make them turn around right now?
Right. Yeah.
Just be there and keep saying like, I love that fuzzy blanket. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. Keep calling attention to like these other aspects of this person's life. And people will either choose to remain uncomfortable. And
because they've identified with the pain.
And right, exactly. And some people are really focused on like having the problems they have and wanting to have them because they get a source of identity from it. And it's like, and I say that like without judgment because I walked around making like for months and then I got tired of it. I was like the girl who had a failed engagement. Do you know, like I really lived from that place as opposed to being like, this is something that is a part of me among other parts of me. So like I get it, but I think it's really important to have people in your life who are like, okay, great. Yeah. You're holding your hand over a stove. Man, I really like the architecture of these walls. It's just like, okay, cool. And you can also not want to talk about the stove. I think like people get confused in friendships where they're like, well, that's all she talks about is like this toxic relationship that she's in. And I've told her over and over again she has to leave.
I won't do it. Yes.
And it's like, okay, great. You can also ask that person like, hey, do you want to hear my opinion on this? Because it feels like you're not willing to take action.
Yeah.
So are you wanting me to listen to you and then not respond? Or do you want to hear my opinion over and over again? Is that helpful? And then they go, oh, I just want you to listen. Then you get to go, okay, great. I don't know how much I can just listen. So if we could talk about like your work or your family or,
and it brings it back to you. You don't go, you're sick and I won't listen. You're going, I'm overwhelmed when
I'm
you
not
speak
sure
about
I can,
this. I can't hear it.
Yeah.
It's not a judgment then. It's just like, you know what? I love you and it's triggering me because I want you to be well.
Right.
So
and it's
I
like,
can't hear
I'll meet you where you're at. You have this person in your life. You meet me where I'm at. I don't want to hear about that person. And then we can just continue to like hold hands and be friends. And then hopefully that's how you see somebody grow.
But it's of course it is. Like the thing is, and we're caveating it because of course if someone's violating your boundaries or like indulging in the pain, get out. But it's to the point of like when we're all in pain, it's like you want it safe for them to turn around and be like, oh, it's all clear back there. Oh, you're hanging. And slowly but surely, inconsistently, because healing is not linear, you know, you'll turn around and hang out.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
The new McCrispy Strip is here. Dip approved by ketchup, tangy barbecue, honey mustard, Sprite, McFlurry, Big Mac sauce, double dipped in buffalo and ranch, more ranch, and creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Now at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I think your art speaks to a lot of this, right? Because it's queer art. It's also identity art. Like I think you process a lot. Because even, I don't know how much you want to talk about your stand-up, but like even in your special, you talk about like it's shitting your pants on a plane.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like
and
while
actually
mourning
how
your
that's
father.
sort of a beautiful moment of being like, other people are like, that's my most embarrassing story. And when anybody is like, what's your most embarrassing story? That never comes to mind because it was like,
it's not.
It wasn't. I was like, in such a dark place. And then I like shit myself and I was like, oh my God, everything is funny.
But I think the reason to me that's so symbolic of you and your art is because it's like, it's never going to be an assault on you. Like life isn't going to be. You're going to experience it alongside life, right? And go like, oh, this was the route we took to make me feel this. Incredible. What an insane storyline.
Yeah, exactly. Like things aren't happening. I think sometimes you forget that things don't happen to you. You're an active member of it, right? So like, and I'm not, don't blame the victim or whatever. Like,
No, of course not. Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but like, some things happen in your life and you're like, this is not my fault, but you have agency in your own life no matter what.
In your response to it, 100%. I think you're so good at that. I think because I don't even know, because you're branded right in this way with Pretty Gay because it's getting so successful. But it's so funny because to me, you'd be more of like a dark comedian. Like if I know,
isn't that crazy?
I
Isn't
love
that
it.
absolutely insane? I'm like this silly little gay girl who's like going on dates. What's even happening? And then I'm like, okay, the stuff I talk about on stage is like dark.
I love it. So to me, because it's also like, I don't care what you think of me. You know what I mean? Because it's like people expecting this like cutie girl who's like everyone's falling in love with on this set. It's like they're gonna, and then you're like, what's up?
Yeah, literally.
Wait, okay, to that. So I can't wait to delve into like your evolution to stand up to this because I did meet you as an actor, even though you were doing stand up. So I would love for you to talk to people kind of like about, I think you're very similar to my friend Bree, who's been on the podcast, where you're like very present and letting the path show itself to you. But what did you want it to be when you were still holding on to like that acting sort of life?
Yeah, I mean, I was in this great play like in Chicago when I first graduated. And so I did that play and then I moved to Los Angeles. And I had just started doing stand up like a little bit in Chicago. And so then out here, it was a way for me to meet people, to go to like open mics and things like that and feel like I had a community, because I still wasn't like out of the closet yet. So I didn't have the queer community. So I had the stand-up community, which can be
so you had a bunch of nice dudes who
not great. It can be not great. But it can also, you can really find some pretty cool people. And
Yes, you can.
but when I first moved out here, I did not know what was going to happen, because I moved out here. I had acted a little bit in Chicago. I had also modeled a little bit in Chicago. So I moved out here and I was like, well, maybe I can act and model out in Los Angeles. And the modeling agencies were like, no. You don't have the right measurements.
I have to say, so the agency in Madison that my sister got signed to was the Rock Agency.
Yeah.
And like I think now in this moment I'm realizing we have to write a TV show about Midwest modeling agencies. And then like the beauty standard of like LA and Paris and New York has to be like, oh, disgusting. No, we want a girl with some
Literally. And I was like, well, I'm pretty. And it's like, they were like, no. literally no. And I was like, okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, sure. Got it.
Yeah, got it. Understood.
Oh, that's so funny.
I thought though it was going to be that. I thought that it was going to be like acting. I thought like, oh, maybe I'll get like a couple parts on like a TV show, and then and I was always writing. So I was always like, and then maybe I could sell a TV show and then be in it and la 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 la.
Yeah.
And that's not really the path anymore. I think like maybe 15 years ago, that was like, you could be sort of like a young nobody, and like, and studios were more willing to cast you or give you a TV show, let's say.
Well, it's kind of what's happening with Sam now. It's like, gosh, they're putting more money in. That never happens anymore. That's amazing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So like this digital space is so interesting, because I really do think that people are waking up, and creatives are waking up a little bit more to, obviously podcasting has been around for a while. And now I think people are realizing that like, oh, maybe it's Patreon. Maybe it's like behind a paywall. Maybe it's like, maybe I can self-produce stuff that like still looks pretty, you know, and that might be something that I have more agency over, because there are a lot of gatekeepers in Hollywood.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. Wait, so because you had a New York stand, you also had a writing, like a pilot that got picked up by a festival, right? The New York one?
Oh, yeah, just the New York TV festival screened like our web series, and then a company asked us to write a pilot for them, unpaid, based on that.
Oh.
Based
I hope
on that
everyone
series.
knows anything I'm talking about before 2019 was unpaid for all of us.
Yeah. So then I wrote them that pilot, and then they never got back to me. So
Cool.
that felt good. That felt good. But that like digital series was made. I made with my friend Seth. We met in a UCB class, and we decided to make that right after my dad passed away. We wrote it, and it was like his passing, and then I got broken up with, and I was just like obviously in a low place, and he was like, I think you're funny, and I think you know how to maybe write something like narratively. And he was like, I know how to like rant on the internet, and people think that's funny, but let's like try to blend those two things and do like a short form digital series. So our episodes were like 3 to 5 minutes long, and we self-produced it, and it was so fun. It was so interesting, and that's like what got me my first manager. So that was
wonderful.
But I wouldn't have been able to make that if my dad didn't die, because I got a little bit of money from him, and then I was like, instead of paying off my credit card debt, I'm gonna make this
Like a web series.
But I think people are
we're
transparent.
sick.
I don't think people
We're
are
sick.
transparent enough with money because it's like people are like
I'm
make
obsessed.
stuff and I'm like, okay, yeah. One of my parents literally had to die for me to do that.
Yeah, I love the idea of you on a red carpet where it's like, what do you give advice to young filmmakers? It's like, one of your parents should die. And
Kill your dad.
Yeah. And then make a web series.
Literally.
And honey, you'll skyrocket to success.
Yeah, exactly. And then 8 years later, you'll have another web series.
Yeah. Then you wink and it's like, okay, it's time to go back to the hospital, Catherine.
Yep.
Oh, heaven. Well, I do think that transparency is heaven because it's like I love these logistics. And I will say, even like people seeing Not That Bad is like, I think when people go through pain, they think, oh, so she probably just then processed her pain by writing this and it was done. It's like, no, you've gone through artistic iterations of processing this and like to varying levels of success. So this idea that it's like, turn it into art. It's not one thing. It's your themes. It's your like it's going to be everywhere. Like,
Yes. Yeah. Because it's me, right? So
100%. Okay, I cut you off. So you were in New York. I think that's like a boon, though. It's like of your writing that you get that confidence that you get to go, okay, I'm acting, but people like my writing, even if they don't pay me. Like,
yeah, of course. So like we did that festival, but I still lived in LA. So like I moved to LA, and then when my engagement ended, or like as it was ending, I moved to New York. And the point of that was I never thought that it was going to be long term. I never thought it was going to be forever. But New York, you're getting a lot more reps in for stand up, and I just felt so discouraged by acting, and I felt like I was like, I've been trying for so long and I'm so old now, LOL.
hell.
Yeah, I'm like, really? You were old, you idiot. But whatever.
And it's not even like an ego thing. It's like they make you feel like you're too old. Like make you feel like
literally like late 20s, you're like, I'm done.
I can't start.
That's it for me.
Yeah, wish I would have. It's like, wish you would have what?
Truly. And so I moved to New York, and I was like getting my reps in for stand-up, and that really helped me build out my solo show. So, and then I moved back to LA because that was sort of always the plan.
Oh, that's good. I didn't realize that. That was just like it was like a minute hop where you're getting reps in.
Yeah, and then I stayed longer because I went through that massive shift in my life, because I had a fiance when I moved to New York with the intention of still having a fiance at the end of it. So,
not with the intention of still having a fiance.
The world said, absolutely not, girlie.
Shifted slightly. We moved some things around.
And I said, okay, so I guess I'll stay here because I no longer have an apartment in LA.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, normal. Well, here's my thing. It's like, one, I think location is huge. I had a discovery this week because I've been like, I've been in the process of like moving 6 different times this year, essentially, and during the fires, it was all the hotels or whatever. But so I was realizing one of the reasons I adore traveling, like when we were in Scotland, whatever, is that I don't have to. There's some measure of guilt in like caring for a home space. And like, you know what I mean? Or like thinking of your stuff and like all of that. And when I'm traveling and I'm in a hotel, I'm like, so I think processing in a new place is so heavenly because that aspect of like duty is a little bit lessened, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it should be illegal to go through a breakup in the same city as your ex.
Okay, we're coming up with a hotel, or like a swap program where it's like breakups. Yeah. And like everyone can the holiday or whatever it is.
Yes. Wait a second.
Wait, okay. We should maybe cut this so we don't tell people.
This is an app.
It's called The Holiday.
It's called The Holiday.
And we can get sponsors by Kate Winslet. She can be our spokesperson, and Cameron Diaz.
Obviously.
Oh,
yes.
I think the 2 of us, okay. I'm sorry, the 4 of us standing together is giving like Winslet and Diaz vibes. I'm like, this is fun. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Again, do not put this in the pod. This is $1 billion industry. We're not sharing.
$1 billion industry.
Okay, but cut to you back in LA. What I love for listeners to know, it was like such a dance in perceptions because Catherine and I took the same acting class. And I was taking it because I had done plays in New York, but I hadn't done any I hadn't even really pursued acting. Any sort of acting. It was like comedy and but so I was taking this class and I was loving it, but I wasn't sort of actor kid pilled in the you have to do this and da-da-da-da-da. So I was drunk on hearing people being like, and this play, and obviously we all want to play this. And I was like, no, I have no idea. You sound insane. I loved it. But my favorite part was that I met you and then I assumed you were an actor in that way. And then some people would be like, oh, Catherine does comedy too. And that class floored me because I just realized it made me value having come up as a comedian 1,000 times more than I ever would have.
And knowing how to write for yourself.
That was
too.
exactly it.
It's it's so different. When I'm in a room of people who are actors who do not write, I feel what?
And they would ask, and
what are we doing?
It's what are we doing? And some of my best friendships in my life have come out of that class. So there's wonderful people.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks would be asking me if I got how'd you get that? Or what? I'd be like, what do you mean I made it? What are you talking about? And so the people who don't know how to make something for themselves and just feel acting is that be a star and they'll give you something.
Oh, right. And I think we're sold this thing of it'll happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think if you do stand up, you realize no, nothing's happening to you. Not only that, but the dream of stand up that gets sold to you as a stand up is you're going to suck for 5 years.
Yes.
And then for the next 5 years, you're going to kind of not suck. And then after 10 years, you might get a special and they might give you $10,000 if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
And you're
and you have a child.
You're oh, okay, $10,000 for the year? That's it? Okay.
And in fact, they say if you don't suck for the first 5 years, we don't respect you. So if you get money, it'll burn out. Yeah. So it's okay,
so
cool.
But that's an interesting work ethic where you are truly just working because you love that craft versus thinking that you're just going to get handed a Netflix special,
And that's what I did find heartbreaking because you're right. To me, the capital A actor that had gone to acting school had been told that. And I was kind of sitting there oh, well, surely you see. But it's no, when you're in these environments and everyone says it, it's hard to parse through that. But
there's usually one person in your circle or your maybe not even immediate circle, but there's that one person who you're but it did happen for Susie.
Yes.
And you're yeah, it did.
Keeps
you're
you
not
moving.
wrong.
Yeah. And but I also loved how because I'm a comic, right? I loved hearing actors' perceptions of you of being well, she's stand-up. And then I'm is she a stand-up in the way an actor is a stand-up? Where she did an open mic. And then I saw your stuff and I was oh, she's legit. Oh my God. I was so excited. I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but there is also that sort of because same. When people are oh, well, she does stand-up too, you're yeah, okay.
That's exactly what I did.
So rude, but it is so true. And then you're wait, oh no, that was, you're right.
It's so funny because it's I don't want to listen to your mixtape. It's a little bit okay, good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's what. So I think we both. That made me laugh because then and two of our friends, Colin and Darian, both had wanted to work with us on and we're interchanging us as scene partners. So
yes,
that was my ticket to be oh no, she's cool. Oh, the people I trust want to work with her. Okay.
Right. No, and same when Colin asked me to work with him, I was oh, but Mo's working on that. And then he was well, Mo's not going to be in this session. And then I was oh, I always thought that she was so cool. So it's cool that you're asking me to do this with you. You see something in both of us. And then eventually we found each other.
I had the same experience where I was we hadn't like become friends in the class. It would just been like, oh, look at her cool outfits is what I thought. I was like, you would wear like cool jumpsuits
exactly.
and I'd be like, oh, sick. But it's funny because it is a class where sometimes I think competition doesn't really reign as much in stand-up either, where it's like if someone asks someone to be a scene partner, they're being replaced. And to me, I was like, nah, like, cool. Oh, that's who you chose? Nice. Is that the vibe I'm giving? Cool. Like that.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, well, listeners now know, I will say the kismet of like the relationships I have, because literally not only was it like we were both at Fringe, but also with Demi, and we had done the pod before going to Fringe. I had walked past Demi at the cafe on the street in Edinburgh, and that was the day we just like walked the whole day together and like just were instant friends. And then I was walking home to my
Yes.
my favorite. It was like the beginning of the instant absolute close friendship, because it was like I was walking home to my hotel and Catherine was literally crouched in the middle of the road in this roundabout trying to take a picture with her own poster.
And it was raining.
And she was just the brightest light, and she was like crouched trying to get it, and I was like, Catherine.
I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing, taking a picture of myself. And then you were like, no, you should be in, like, I'll take it for you.
I was like,
oh my God, thank you.
I was like, I don't want you getting hit by a car either.
Yeah.
But I liked that because it felt like I didn't even have to try or like do the text of like, hey, let's, we're here, we're both here. It was just like, oh, sup.
Yeah, you just like run into people. And that was the magic of Edinburgh too, because then it was like we would find each other even like later in the evening, like then like almost every single day. So it was like so fun.
Well, my producer, Erica's a genius, but she noted after our Fringe episode, I wanted to do your own. And Erica literally kept a note that I had made in August that I wanted to talk about, but it was about proximity relationships and how the intimacy of those is so much greater. And like, we just were around, it was osmosis. We were just around each other. So we didn't have to say, what was your childhood like? What was it? It was like, you just spend enough time, you know it. It's like less aggressive or direct intimacy. It's so nice.
It is so nice. And I think it just doesn't happen as much because everybody's so independent. And that's not a bad thing, but, you know, we used to exist much more in community. And we just don't, you know, we're not going to like a market and exchanging berries for bread, you know, and then like chatting.
I made my best friends that way.
I immediately went to like,
Foragers.
1906. I don't know what's happening.
Not 1906.
I'm in a lesbian period piece.
Not 1906 with berries. You got to go way farther back for that.
No, I don't know history, okay? I grew up here. I got this education.
I'm a beautiful model.
Nothing happened before 1906.
Ain't nothing, no industrial, nothing. I also keep getting distracted because I just love gabbing. But so I do want to tie it back to like, how did that perception of that trajectory shift for you, right? Like how I'm kind of looking for that mechanical point where you started allowing in more, oh, I didn't realize.
I think I was like, I think for a really long time, I was like, I had a chokehold on like this thought of it's going to be acting. It's going to be acting. Someone's going to like finally figure it out and cast me in something. And I have this other ability to do stand up, and that's like fun and that's feeding me, right? Because I felt like I very much wasn't getting fed by acting, but the things that were keeping my creative mind alive were like writing jokes, et cetera, et cetera. And I think like in New York, it was like it revealed to me that like, you know what? You just like don't have any control over any of this. Like everything felt so messy in New York. I got so incredibly ill.
Did you?
That's when I got like diagnosed with colitis. Yeah.
That was when? I didn't realize it was so recent.
Yeah, I had been, the doctor was like, you've probably been experiencing some form of like a flare for the last like 4-ish years. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right.
I thought that was just bummed out.
Yeah, well, like, and then I was like canceling things for like, I would go through like a couple months of like not being able to go out or like do anything because I was in pain and just needed to be like near a bathroom.
Yeah.
And then, finally, just I got the right doctor in New York, and it had gotten so bad that I couldn't eat food, and so that is necessary, I guess.
Famously,
whatever.
people need that, or I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was like just nothing that was in. I was like, okay, cool. Like nothing's in my control. Like none of this went the way that I thought it was gonna go. Like I thought I was gonna get married, and then I had like this delusion of like I thought that I was gonna get back together with my ex-fiance. Like none of it.
It's not a delusion. It's like it's a desire for what you think is safe, and it's like so beautiful, and it's heartbreaking when you're out of it to look back and know that that's like just the beliefs that you were given and the experience you were given.
Yeah. And so I think there, though, I really had just like okay, well, just show me the way. Like, and then Sam and Elaine, like, when I came back to LA, like, we're sort of like, we're wanting to explore this space of like, investing in smaller creative projects. And I was like, okay, so maybe that's it. And then it wasn't. Like, after season 1, it really wasn't. It was so fun, but it was also so much like, okay, well, this didn't take off in the way that maybe we thought, or I got some followers out of it, but like even that wasn't like enough to get me like noticed, which is like ridiculous, but whatever.
But it's the way of it.
It is like, it's like the way of the industry is like, I don't have credits, but I could be like, well, I have this many followers, and then you do get booked on more shows. Even,
and that's the berries and bread of 1907. Yeah.
And that is the berries and bread. So yeah, I think it was like pretty late that I let go of the path that I thought I was going to be on.
I love that. I think that because I think to me, that's like a big crux of my play at Fringe, which was at your lowest low, right, becomes your highest high. Not because like, it's not even because you're like, fuck it, whatever, nothing. It's because you let go of everything. To me, it was like, I let go of everything. I just was like done with all the bad. I felt so apathetic. I felt whatever. But when you let go of everything, when you're at the bottom, you're also letting go of all the bad. Like, you're just done. And so if you can like beautifully, like if young queers, if I can survive that moment, that dark second, you then see a door that you didn't see before because you were also holding on to like the I'll never make it, whatever. Like you literally let go of everything. The I'm worthy of love and I'll never make it. Like you let go of both of those.
Yeah.
And if you can get through that period, God willing, then you get to go, oh, all right, well, if nothing matters, then why don't I ball out? Like,
yeah, exactly. You become less precious.
Yes.
Like, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. No problem. It is. And like, it's not to say you're not lit up by what you do, but it doesn't have a bearing on whether or not you're worthy of love.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes. Yeah.
You're still like, oh my gosh. Okay. So we are getting to one of my end segments, and I love talking about your process because it's so similar. You remind me of Albertina in this way, where it's like so similar to mine, where it's like it is all feeling driven, yet you're a very technical person. Mm-hmm. And I think it's sometimes hard to explain, and I don't think it's necessarily represented often because it's hard to explain.
It is, yeah. There's no like when people are like, well, how'd you do that? It's like, oh,
a vibe.
Yeah, I don't know how to put that into words. I could tell you how I like opened a website and like made the website.
Yes.
But that's not even going to tell you how I did that.
No. And like it's not going to tell you how like shitting on a plane was actually heavenly. Like it's not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
Shitting your pants on a plane.
Yes.
Oh, you're such just a wonderful person. So I love like listeners need to know. I like if the world can measure how much it's like I'm a little kid when I see Catherine. I'm like, I love Catherine so much. I love you so dearly.
That's how I feel. We just get together and we're like,
Okay, so we're getting to our end segment, which is called Thank You for Holding My Poems, which I would identify you as a poem holder in my life because this segment is inspired by, I think I've told you this before, but it's inspired by Anna Akhmatova, the Russian poet, who during the Great Terror, her community, her friends, other writers held edits of her poems when they couldn't be published. And I was so moved by that because the idea of like showing your art, your vulnerable things, unfinished, unperfect, and the people who hold that are like the most heavenly people that give you that chance, that let you mess up and let you grow. And so I would love it if you would, even if it's someone who gave you a free cookie or the greatest work of art, if you could share a poem in your life with us that we could hold for you.
Oh, yeah. Wait, sorry. I forget how this goes.
I know.
So
I saw it in your eyes.
I don't say like a person.
So it's abstract.
I say like something for you to hold. Like I used to write in my diary like certain specifics just in case I got hit by a car and then I erased all my memory or something. And so then I would write like in a way that was like, well, if future Catherine with no memories were to read this, she would get a sense of me. It's like that.
Oh my God. This is everything. Wait, I'm sorry. This is everything. This is all a poem. That is a poem to yourself. This is the first ep where someone is holding poems for themselves in the most tender way. So, okay, break down everything for me. I could cry right now. That is the cutest little girl I've ever seen in my life. I love her so much. Oh my God. You write like, okay, so you would write down like, because again, I'm sorry, we all watched like the Full House where like Michelle falls off a horse and loses her memory. We all thought we were all going to snap our necks and lose our minds. Also, we were all traumatized. Anyways, right. But what were you like? Was it bullet points? Was it like 50 First Dates? Were you Adam Sandler playing for Drew Barrymore a tape? Like
kind of maybe like that. It was like I would write in my journal like, oh well, today. Like if it was you, I'd be like, oh, today I recorded a podcast with Mo Fry-Pasek. Mo is a friend that I met at Edinburgh. We recorded her podcast where we talked about different things that we have done artistically, like XYZ, but in a way that was like, like, and I went to Edinburgh too,
You were writing to yourself.
And it's like, I have those memories. Catherine has those memories, but then I was like, but future Catherine might not.
I could cry. Okay, so not only are we holding this poem, this is the poem, by the way. Like, I know you're using it as an example of poems and asking that, but this is the poem. This is the poem because I think the commonality I find with anybody, even if it's self, who has experienced any measure of gaslighting, of distortion of the reality, of even if it's friendships or family, like emotionally unsafe environments, one of the things that they do, right, is they like try and obsessively remember their own memory or do the thing. And like that can manifest in toxic ways that are heartbreaking because you're surviving. But for this kid, right, to like maybe not be sure, even if you weren't sure of yourself, right, to then write those things down is such a love letter to you. It is such a like, I'll do this for you. I'll spend this time now in case it might make you feel better when you lose your mind in the future. It is so self-loving. I love that.
Yeah.
How did you see it?
Ugh, I don't know. I think some of it was like, Catherine, couldn't you just be a child? Like no. You had to imagine yourself getting like hit by a car every time you sat down to journal.
Yeah.
But I think it has served me then later because it has helped me. Like I have like after an argument or something like that gone to like write down just the facts of what happened because it like what you said does actually really resonate where it's like, yeah, I have had my reality distorted. So it is actually nice to go back and be like, wait, was this bad? And then you're like, yes, past you wrote this down and thought that it was bad. So probably it was.
Well, you know what's funny is like, I'll do that in my journal where like I'll even people please and be like, it's not that bad. And like I can hear myself talking to the journal. Like, and it's like, oh no. And I rarely go back and read, but I was clearing out a lot of stuff. And I read one from a time where I felt super enlightened and like aware of my shit. And it was like a couple years ago, and I was talking about someone I was dating, and it was like, buddy, get out. What? Like, that's a crazy thing to write. And it was like, and I'm sure it's coming from a place that they're not even aware of. And it's like, no.
Absolutely. You're like, but I can understand it, so it's okay. And then you're like, and then future you is like, no. No.
And thank God I wrote it down, though, because I didn't know I felt like that at the time. I had forgotten. And so to get to go back and having done that act for myself, having even written in a people pleaser way that I knew at the time I was doing.
Yeah.
It grounds us. It grounds us back into reality. Do you have any other poems that you wanted to add that weren't the thing I made you do?
No, I like that. I like that as a poem. I think that is also a great insight into me as a human being. So.
Oh, I think you're wonderful. I'm like, yeah, that kid was a kid. The kid was just a super smart kid, and I love her.
Just a different version of a child.
An adult.
Yeah. Also known as an adult.
Oh my God. Well, you're perfect in every way, Ken. Listeners are, I believe, Pretty Gay. When is it dropping again?
May 7th.
May 7th. Oh my God. So I think this might come out so you can watch it now. Yay. Listeners. Oh my God. Is there anything else people can find you at or do or what?
No, just like follow me online, subscribe to the Patreon if you have $5. And if you don't, then literally just like follow me online and like my videos.
Say that. Currency, berries. Give me some berries.
Give me berries. I'll give you bread.
Okay, well, I end every episode by giving my audience and you a compliment. And it feels very apropos. And I say, oh my God, you're so pretty.
Ah, thank you so much.
Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasick is hosted by me, Mo Fry Pasick. You can learn more about this week's guest and the Worse Than You team by checking out the show and episode copy. Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasick is executive produced by Erica Ghetto, Mariah Gossett, and Lauren Mandel for Good Get and Disco Nap Productions. Oh my God, you're so pretty.
I'm going to let her down easy, and I just think that we work better as friends, so I'm not going to turn around during the ceremony.